everyone for coming. It seems that we got the less fun topic today. Everyone here is talking about the exciting opportunities of FinTech, and I think we all live that and breathe that every day. But we were asked to talk about the downside risk. And it's in the nature of innovation to have this paradox that when we innovate, by definition, we solve a problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. But every innovation brings new problems on top of it. You can't really think of anything. Even medicines, they have side effects. Or the internet itself solved problems and then brought new ones. So we're going to be talking about the risks that are emerging for consumers and for the industry as we work our way through this very dynamic landscape that's creating so much opportunity and so much risk at the same time. So I want to begin by asking our panel to take a moment to introduce themselves and just briefly share what their perspective is on our topic. And let me start, Andreas, with you.
Thank you, Joanna. Very, very happy to be here. At the IIF, the Global Financial Services Association, we have roughly 500 members in 75 countries around the world. I've been focusing a lot in the dialogue with the policymakers and the regulators, primarily nowadays on the new issues about FinTech, about the kind of regulatory issues and policy issues that are brought up by the increasing use of technology and the increased partnerships that traditional banks and traditional institutions are having with emerging companies.
Great, thank you. And Mark?
Yeah, Joanne. Good afternoon all. My name is Mark Whitcroft, and I'm founding partner of Illuminate Financial. We're a venture firm that invests in financial markets, FinTech opportunities. Our first fund looks at early stage capital markets, FinTech opportunities. So we engage a lot with the startup ecosystem in this space around the topic we're discussing. We also advise 5 global investment banks on their FinTech strategy as it relates to wholesale banking and capital markets. And we're one of a number of organizations in the Bank of England FinTech Accelerator community, helping them with their FinTech strategy. So with our business model, we bridge both the startups trying to solve a lot of these problems and also dealing with the large firms in how they address these problems and the solutions they're looking for.
Yeah, Andreas, you work mostly with the very large global banks, and Mark, you're working with both the large and the small, which is a good combination. And Jim?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be here and to have been invited to be part of this panel. I wear 2 hats in my profession. I am a shareholder in the U.S. law firm Glade Vogt Lord & Smith, but I'm also CEO and general counsel of a compliance consulting firm called Compliance Strategies International. For most of my career, I actually served as a federal prosecutor for the U.S. Department of Justice. And during that time, for part of that time, I ran the Corporate Fraud Task Force, which is where I gained expertise initially specific to compliance and regulatory matters, including the FCPA, anti-money laundering, human trafficking, and to some extent, I also handled data breach cases.
And we have an empty chair at the end of the table, and the earlier materials had another speaker on our panel, which is Melissa Koide. She was not able to join us, but she is the CEO of FinRegLab, former Treasury Department official in the United States, and I have some connection with her work, so I'm going to try to bring a little bit of that perspective in as we talk. And I'm Joanne Barefoot. As noted, I'm CEO of Barefoot Innovation Group, co-founder of Hummingbird RegTech, and senior fellow emerita at Harvard University. I've been writing a book on financial innovation and regulation. So we have a great panel, and we wanted to start by just getting the main risk topics on the table. So why don't we go down the line in the same order we started and just say, what do you think are the top risks that are facing consumers and facing firms? And if it's a risk that's facing consumers, then it is facing firms and regulators almost by definition as well. And then we're going to dig down into those a little bit. So Andreas.
Yes. Now, whenever we talk about this topic, I'd like to start by focusing on the opportunities, not only the challenges, but really the opportunities. We're talking about greater access to finance. We're talking about access to a wider range of products, hopefully at a lower cost, and undoubtedly at a much greater convenience for the customer. However, all those advantages do have a flip side, and is an increased level of risk for customers. They can relate to mis-selling of products. We're talking about making financial products available to a wide range of customers, in many cases for the first time having access to financial services. So financial literacy and whether customers know the kind of products that they are acquiring, it's quite important. We're talking about cyber risk, being subject to fraud, data privacy, how the data that the customer is providing to financial institutions is being treated. And then for the financial services firms, we can later talk about other risks, including AML risk that